everyone, to another episode of the Spawn Room Podcast, where we talk about all things esports and gaming. I am your host, Rachel Olsen Cooper. Many of you know me as Crunk or Crunk NWJ from the internet spaces. So over the last few months, I've covered a lot of things that have revolved around youth esports and gaming in the schools. And one question that I have had for all the people that I have talked to has been, what has been the parental response? I've talked to parents at events that say that they love that their kids are involved in something bigger than themselves, that gaming has helped their social anxiety. I've had some parents say that they don't understand what's really going on, but they heard that colleges are starting to give out scholarships. So they're okay if their kids play video games if it gets them, or it allows them, to further their education. And of course, there's the parents out there that are absolutely against their children playing video games because of the stigmas behind gaming. I had even read some comments in a friend's Facebook post that was just asking about Minecraft, and a friend of theirs said that video games was the number one reason of epilepsy, and that everyone in their family who is epileptic now is that way because of video games. So it's a lot of mixed reviews. But I wanted to sit down with a parent who of a child who is involved in esports to get their firsthand perspective on this new medium that has taken over to the point that kids would rather sit and watch other people play video games than a TV show or an actual sporting event. So with me today is Vanessa Kerr. Some of you may know her as MommaToaster or MommaToast, and her son is a Super Smash Brothers player in the San Antonio area. So welcome, Vanessa, to the show. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So first, tell me a little bit about yourself and about your son and a little bit of the journey that you guys have been on.
Sure. So we are from the San Antonio area. We live just outside of San Antonio. And I started taking my son, Toast is his tag, in Smash. Started taking him to tournaments when he was 12, just about to turn 13. And here we are. He is 17 now, senior in high school. And we are still at it. So we started off just at our locals, and now we're attending regional events and majors in Texas, hoping to start crossing state lines soon and get some majors in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when did he start to take an interest in video games, and when did he realize that he might want to go beyond just playing casually?
So my husband and I are gamers, especially when we were kids. And I always knew I wanted to get both of my boys into, especially the retro games, like show them, look at this pixelized stuff. This is what it used to look like. So got him into that when he was younger, and he got Smash Bros. He had, Brawl, I think is what he had first. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember which one, but he got into Smash Bros. around that age, 11, 12. And then somehow he found out that there were such thing as tournaments that you can go to. Mm-hmm. So we Googled, found a place in San Antonio called Otaku Cafe that held weekly tournaments, and headed out there. They have them every Thursday evening, and never looked back. I've gone almost every Thursday since. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was your initial reaction when he realized that he could compete at a higher level and wanted to start going to these tournaments and really taking his gameplay seriously?
So there was probably two parts to that. I noticed when we would attend these events that he became a different person. And he even told me, like, early on at the weeklies that he was around his people. Like, these are my people, Mom. And he just built some instant friendships with them. This group of people, they get each other really easily. And his confidence also grew. And so that was probably that one side of that. Then he realized, there's this thing called PR, power rankings. That's what I want. That's my goal, right? Mm-hmm. So those two things together that I learned about is when I really understood this is why and what he wants. Yeah.
And I love that he said that he found his people, because that's really truly what video games is it like when you find that one game in that one community that you just click with everybody, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have found my home. And I love that. Like, I get chills, just thinking about that. I love it. I love it.
For sure.
So at what point did you step back and say, okay, so he's actually pretty good at this. Maybe this isn't just going to be, a one-time thing or something that he does every so often and then gets bored later on with it?
I realized that pretty early on because people would comment to me, he's pretty good. Like, yeah, he's a kid, he's pretty good. And he would go to these locals and place pretty well for being an inexperienced player, and people started to watch him more, and then he was just getting better and better and better as the weeks went on. And I realized, okay, like this is not just some little side hobby that he wants, this is his passion and what
Yeah.
he wants to, achieve.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
So when you would take him to these tournaments and events,
Mhm.
was it just a small handful of parents that would, they would stick around to watch, or it was a lot of, okay, I'm just going to drop you off and I'll see you later, bye, or was it like parents that were there but they weren't engaged in anything, like what was that parental crowd like, especially in the beginning?
Most of the time in those early days, there weren't many parents. Occasionally, I would see a couple come in and not really watch or pay attention. Every once in a
Hmm.
while, there would be some, but for the most part, I would be the only parent there. So that didn't change until we started attending more regionals, majors, and I got on a Twitter presence where
Yeah.
I got to meet some more of the, Smash parents.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
then, when did you personally start to take an interest in what he was doing and really embracing the game and the community?
So pretty early on, I realized that a lot of these kids, I call them kids. They're not all kids. They're
Yeah.
like teenagers and then in their 20s, but to me, they're kids.
Hmm.
Um, they would just come up and start talking to me at the tournaments, whether it would be about toast or, something else, school, whatever. They would talk to me because they were like, wow, I wish my mom would support me in the way that you're supporting toast. And those conversations would grow. And then eventually it felt like we were friends. We weren't just talking about like toast, we were
Yeah.
talking about life.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, are there other parents in the community that try to be as engaging as you are? Like, is there like a big support system of parents, or is it just you kind of running the show? That you're the one that's around the most.
Yeah. Do see some parents come to our locals. It's not a ton. I see more at regionals and majors. It's still not a ton, but there are amazing parents out there. And I've gotten to become great friends with some of them. Kirby Daddick, they're from Louisiana and Texas. And there's a lot out there. Just don't see them at the local scene as much, but I
Mhm.
do see them. And I love when they come in, and I love introducing them to everything and showing them here's all of our locals,
Yeah.
and making sure that they understand, because I know what it felt like to walk in that day and I'm looking around like, what is this place, where are we?
Right.
And yeah, and their child looks about the same age Toast was when I first took him. So
Yeah.
I like to kind of take them under my wing and show them around, and let them know everything that's going on in the scene.
So it's like, really, in a way, not only did Toast find his people, but you kind of found your people as well.
For sure. Yes. I mean, these kids are like my family, and they, like, when we go to locals, it's usually we go every Thursday for sure. That's our biggest one. I think that's one of the biggest ones in Texas right now.
Hmm.
And we also will try to go to one more during the week. But I sit at a table and they all come and join me because I've always told them, come talk to me. I'm here for you. You want to talk about the game, life, whatever. I'm here,
Yeah.
and without judgment.
Yeah, yeah. And so that kind of brings me into the next question is that, gaming can be a really hard thing mentally for competitors, especially at that young age. So is there anything that you or maybe the other parents do to try to keep everyone's spirits up, making sure that they're okay, mentally, physically, that they're keeping themselves, healthy, essentially?
Right. Right. So I've always told I call them my Smash kids, but I've
Hmm.
always told them that it's not about your ranking. It's not about how you played that day. What can you take away from tonight's performance? Did you learn anything? Did you have fun? I know that's the very much the mom thing to say. Did you
Yeah.
have fun? And it's probably not what they want to hear. But I'm always there with that mom pep talk if they need it, a hug, just somebody to vent to.
Yeah.
But I just always remind them that, it's not, it's, yes, it's a game, but it's
Mhm.
more than a game, right? Like, did
Yeah.
you get to come and see your friends? Did you have a fun time?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
so So with that being said, over the summer, the community did something for you that I thought was super special whenever I saw it. Can you talk a little bit about your journey and the event that the Smash community put together for you?
Sure. So I started having some health issues back in the fall of 2022. And these health issues kind of spiraled out of control, causing me to have to take medical leave from work in January of 23. And lots of tests were involved with this, including ambulance ride. Toast and his brother having to call 911 for an ambulance. Lots of
Wow.
medical bills that kept coming in. And then, when you're not working, you're on medical leave, you're not getting paid.
Right.
So the stress was building up. And I'm an open book on my Twitter. And that's part of the mental health awareness that I want to bring to Twitter, is that I want people to not feel alone. And I want them to know, I'm a grown adult and I am dealing with anxiety right now. It's okay if you do too.
Yeah.
So I would go check the mail. Here's another bill. And I'm like, just at a point where, like, a breaking point, you feel like you can't take another bill. You can't pay it right now. So, and still not getting answers. So still being sent for more tests. So, one day we're at our local, and a player by the name of G Meister, his name's Garrett, asked me, what are your thoughts on hosting a tournament where the funds raised would go towards your medical bills? And I was very taken back by this, because Garrett's just 19 years old.
Yeah.
So for somebody that age, to come up with just that thought laid on his heart was really amazing.
Oh.
And I told him, that's awesome. Of course that would be fine. And, we could do it at my house. And we have had Smash Fest here where I've shoved almost 40 people in here. So I was like, sure, we'll do it. That's fine. But I told him, throw it out there on Twitter and see if people would be interested, because that's a great idea, but I don't know who's going to want to come. So he put it out there, and before you know it, it kind of spiraled into something more than we ever thought it could be, because more and more people wanted to get involved. And Majesty Gaming, via Share with Majesty Gaming, stepped in. People wanted to help out with graphics. Phil, the owner of Shenanigans, is like, let's have it here at my venue. And before you know it, it turned into a regional. So it had enough PR players and enough attendance to count as a regional. And people came from all the way Dallas, Rio Grande Valley, all across Texas. It was really amazing to come and support me. Yeah. And raised money to where I could pay off a lot of my bills and take that stress off. So my heart, it was overflowing with gratitude to these kids that came out to do this. And we had a great time. And like they said, we're here for you. And it was just, it made my year for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw it popping up on Twitter, and I was like, okay, that's really cool of them, to do that. And I was even, trying to go through and see, what info I could find about it. And I didn't realize that it was that big enough that it actually counted as a regional tournament. That's incredible. That is incredible. And it was all done just by the players themselves.
Yes. Just the people in this community, that a lot of people from Austin and San Antonio that helped TO it, put together the stream, did the graphics. A lot goes into running a regional. You have to have people calling pools and people setting up equipment and bringing equipment to set up at the venue. We even had a food truck come.
I love it.
Street Food Kings from San Antonio came, and they are friends with the owner of Shenanigans, Phil, and they're like, let's come and we'll give a percentage of our proceeds to MommaToaster.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know these people. This is just absolutely amazing. And
that's incredible.
Vendors there that were doing the same thing. They made the tournament was called Roller Toaster, right? So they made Roller Toaster coasters that were wooden, and keychains and things like that, where the percentage of the sales also went towards me. So it was just all around, everybody coming together. It was an amazing feeling.
I'm trying so hard as we talk about this not to cry, because it's so amazing to hear things like that. And you always hear about, gamers putting together fundraisers for things like, St. Jude and Children's Miracle Network and, these big companies. And that's not to say anything about anybody, because obviously I love to hear about any money that's being raised by gamers to go towards a good cause, but it's not often that you hear it going towards like somebody's personal cause, and for it to be that big, like, yeah, people will do streams and be like, hey, I'm going to raise money for so-and-so because they got some, tests to run, it's a couple $100 type of thing. But never to the point of something being that big. So without divulging full totals, what ended up being the total towards the end, roundabout?
I feel like it was close to 3,500. I don't remember the exact amount, but close to 3,500. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Which was, yes, I think the goal, they set the goal at 2,500 and I told them they were crazy. And they're like, no, we're going to get there. And they did to 3,500. Yeah.
That's so amazing. That is so amazing. I love that so much.
It really helped me. I was able to send off checks that I wasn't able to, for a long time. And it started to take that stress off of my shoulders.
Yeah.
So,
and I can only imagine, because like I have kind of my own, health journey that I've been going through for the last like 2 or 3 years at this point. And it builds up so much, and you do just look and say, is this ever going to happen? And the fact that they made that happen for you is incredible. And I am so happy that you got to experience that. I really, really am. Especially because like I was a band kid. So we had our band moms and our band parents that we would do the same exact thing for. We're actually talking about possibly doing that for one of our old band moms just for her 70th birthday, just to get together. So it's like, I've been in that type of community where you have that, but it's not often you hear that in the gaming community, because parents usually aren't that involved. That's just so incredible. It made my heart soar.
Yeah. I mean, I stood in that venue and just like, I walked in that morning and looked around, like they are setting all of this up for me. Yeah. And that's a feeling I'll never forget. And just watching all these people pour in, and it was amazing.
Yeah. That's so amazing. That's so amazing. Yeah. So what is next on the horizon for Toast? Is he going to be going on to play college or play esports in college? Is he going to, be going to school just in general? Like what's kind of his plan?
He does want to attend college. He's had several colleges reach out to him for both his academics and, esports, and which I think is just amazing, because a lot of people don't realize that is a thing. It goes beyond football and swimming and baseball and all of that. And there are several colleges that have reached out to him for that. So he does want to attend college. We don't know where yet. We better get on the ball because he's a senior.
Right.
But that's his plan. And he definitely wants to start attending, try to get to something out of state soon. I think our goal is to go to SmashCon next year.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun, because that's in that's like Ohio, or is that the one in Virginia?
Maryland, Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia. Yeah. I knew that there was like something in Ohio and something in Virginia, and I couldn't remember which was which. That's awesome. That will
be our first out of state. Yeah.
I hope that once I graduate and I can get a job in the industry, that maybe one day I'll be reporting on Toast. That'll be awesome. That would be
great.
So what is your biggest piece of advice to parents whose kids are showing interest and a passion for esports, but they're afraid of the unknown?
So I have said this a lot. You don't have to understand it to support it. Toast great grandparents, my grandparents, they both passed away in the last year and a half or so, but they would always love to hear him call them in the evening and tell him how he did. They had no idea, no clue what that video game was, what was happening, nothing. But they loved hearing about how he did, Yeah. And so I just always say, like, you don't have to understand. I, of course, over time have gradually learned a little bit about the game, not very much, as you've heard from my VOD reviews that I've done, but I know enough. But what you do need to know is if it's making them happy and they're around people and they're having a good time, then that's what matters, right? Bringing them joy. Yes. And that's something that they want to do. It is not just a video game. It's way more than that. It's a community of people that have made friendships, lifelong friendships. And I mean, look at my event, look at people coming together. It's more than just a game. So I would encourage parents to look at it that way. You don't even have to get to know the game. You don't have to
Right.
understand the game. Just know, hey, it makes my child happy. And,
That's wonderful.
I think that's really all that matters.
Yes. And I agree, that,
Yeah.
even though my parents never like said, oh, you shouldn't play video games at all, you could tell that it was something that they weren't happy with us doing because we did it so much. And I think that if this world existed whenever I was growing up, I probably I may have had that little bit of support, but
Right.
I knew that my parents were more supportive of me being in the band and playing sports than they ever would have been,
Right.
playing video games. And you're right. It really just is just showing up and being there and showing that interest. You don't have to understand it to be able to love what it is that they're doing.
Yes, yes, and see the joy that it brings them. And
Mhm.
really, like you're talking about how things have changed through the years. The seed
Yeah.
was planted years ago, and now, so Toast's sophomore year, 2 years ago, they started an esports club and team at his high school. And
Okay.
a lot of the players that are in their 20s are like, man, that would have been awesome, right, to
Yeah.
have when I was in high school. So it's really cool to see that take off, and they get to do
Hmm.
a high school monthly tournament in San Antonio at R20
Okay.
where all the schools come together. But more than that, they get to go to a club after school and once again have a place, right? It's
Yeah.
about being around those people that you refer to as your people because not everybody fits into football or band or so
Yep.
Toast is in orchestra as well and then he
Okay.
does the esports club, but it's those kids that they love video games and okay, I don't fit into these other realms. What can I do? And
Yeah.
it gives them that place.
Yeah. And
So
I now have to ask, what does he play in orchestra?
yeah. He plays the viola. He also
Oh,
plays
I love it.
guitar.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
played cello once in third grade, and then we
Awesome.
moved.
Yeah.
I'm from Pennsylvania, and we lived in Philadelphia at the time, and then we moved to
Uh-huh.
Pittsburgh, and my school didn't have an orchestra, so I had to switch
Oh,
instruments. So, and I was bummed because I really enjoyed playing the cello, but that's a
yeah.
whole nother conversation for a different day. So,
He has played since fifth grade, so he
oh,
loves
I
it.
love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. All righty. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, for coming onto the show today. If anyone out there wants to follow you and your son's journey, where can they find you?
We're both on Twitter, so I am at MommaToaster, and he is at SKE Toast. You can probably find him under mine. Yeah,
Perfect.
can't find it.
Perfect. Love it. All righty. Well, that is going to do it for the Spawn Room podcast. Make sure that you check out the website, thespawnroom.net, for all of my past articles and videos. And you can also follow along at __ Spawn Room on Twitter. That's a hard word to say. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and sometimes Twitch at CrunkNWJ. So thank you again, Vanessa, for your time today. And I will see you all next time on the Spawn Room podcast.